Sawadee Cup and welcome to another episode here for the Funkit Pod, for the media part of the Funkit Pod, the media Prof reacts to. And in this case, there's only one thing I can react to this week. If you've got Netflix, even if you don't have, I don't encourage you to stream it and steal it, but there's only one thing that I can react to, and no, it's not House of the Dragon, because come on, that's just another Game of Thrones. I will react to it later, but there's only one thing we can react to right now, the one thing that you're binge watching right now. There's only one correct answer to what you're binge watching, or are you binge watching Netflix right now, and your answer should be yes, sensei. So here is Media Prof reacts to Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai is back. Season 5 just dropped yesterday, at least here in Thailand it was yesterday. And I was supposed to work. I wanted to get some work done, some research work done on a Sunday, but obviously I couldn't. I had to watch Cobra Kai. And Cobra Kai is just one of those shows that just, it sounds like a fanboy, right? Doesn't miss, but it doesn't, because it stays true to what it is. It's not a show that changes the world. It's not like, it doesn't reinvent a genre like Game of Thrones, for example, did, and House of the Dragon does not. It's the same genre as Game of Thrones, obviously. So I don't think it's like as groundbreaking as GOT, but more on this next time maybe. So I think Cobra Kai just knows what it is and plays to its strength in a beautiful way. We see lots of character development. We have seen it from the get-go, from season 1, how Daniel was that nice guy, supposedly, still is, of course, but then we saw like the wrinkles, like how he hates Johnny after all those years. We saw Johnny, why Johnny did what he did. Then we saw Kreese, why Kreese did what he did. And so on. We see Miguel, we see Robbie. Everybody has like those facets, right? We see like lots of character development all the time, which is really, really interesting. And so, season 5 of Cobra Kai, and there might be a few spoilers. I try to keep it spoiler free, but there might be like a few spoilers. So if you really don't want to hear anything, so that's the time. But so the strengths are or have been since season 1, like of course. One is like pop cultural references, right? It's even like a media strategy, like intertextual references and so on. So it's just great at that. It's always been great at that. And it's not just the 80s music, of course, the old cars, the quotes from the old movies, or references to quotes from the old movies, references to the old Karate Kid movies, like when Daniel and Joseon talking, and then Daniel is like, you could never forgive someone who tried to kill you, and Joseon just looks at him like, and Daniel's like, no, you're okay. I forgave you. So it's those intertextual references are just great. Pop culture references are just great in Cobra Kai. My favorite one, again, spoiler, and my favorite one is I think when Stingray returns to the screen and he's singing, and I like it so much because I'm a big wrestling fan as well. So he's singing this theme song from Chris Jericho, who is an AEW, and Chris Jericho has his own rock band, Fosse, and Fosse made that theme song that Chris Jericho uses to come out to the ring in AEW, and the people love it. They sing along. It's like a rock song. It's like Judas in my mind. So it's called Judas, and it's like Judas in my mind. And Stingray sings that song, and it's so fitting. Pop culture references, intertextual references, great. Similar audience maybe, so great, but also because of course he's Judas, right? He betrayed Sensei Kreese at the end of last season. That's just awesome. I love this a lot. I was smiling. I was so happy. I'm like, oh my god, that's so cool. Great job. And this is not the only time they do it, of course, but it was just one of my favorites because it also included wrestling. Another one of my favorites is that the spoilers keep coming, that Tyron Woodley, former UFC champion, former UFC welterweight champion, is part of the new senseis of Cobra Kai. And I just tweeted it. I'm sorry, T Wood, because I really liked Tyron Woodley when he was there. And then, of course, unfortunately, he lost to Jake Paul twice. Tough. Got paid for it, so whatever. But yeah, I said it like, you see T Woodley on the screen, and you know he's going to take another L. I'm sorry, T Wood, forgive me. And of course he does, but it's just so cool to see like a real life MMA guy and popping up in Cobra Kai. I can't wait. Like I was like, that's Tyron Woodley. Where's Stephen Thompson? Stephen Thompson needs to probably gonna pop up sooner than later. I was like, yeah, Stephen Thompson, I want to see you. So that's just cool. This blending together from like the outside world and other pop culture events, and it's just cool. It's just they're really good at that, and I think the target audience, like me, for example, appreciates that. So that's what I meant by they know what they are. They know who they are targeting. They know who their audience is. So they're very, very good at it, in my opinion. Other than that, like I said, the storytelling, the arcs, the storytelling arcs, the character arcs that they're using also makes sense. Of course, it's a Netflix show, so of course the characters have like faults and flaws, and they're not on purpose. Like they have like flaws where you think like, why do you change your mind so fast? For example, Daniel's wife in the beginning, she's like all about like karate sucks, karate is bad for our family, and then of course she has to come around eventually. It makes sense that she does, but it's rather quickly that she comes around. She's like, oh, like Daniel told her about like John Silver being like an a-hole the whole time and what he tried to do, and she's just doesn't believe him. He told her for years, right? But then like her friend is like, yeah, so Silver really was an ass back then, and then so she's like, oh, if you tell me, well then I believe you now. And it's like so it's a bit quick that she comes around. It makes sense for the story that she comes around to it, but it's a bit quick, right? Also like Miguel and Miguel's dad, how fast he like switches then from like the being the nice guy to like being the a-hole again. It's that him seeing Johnny and Robbie in those female body inspector shirts that says FBI in the front, they thinking that it's a real FBI shirt. Bit stupid, okay, a bit stupid. But then again, it's Cobra Kai. It's a Karate Kid. It's not like, I don't know, a political show or anything like this, right? So okay, let's just roll with it. A bit stupid, but let's roll with it. So yeah, I'm really excited about this. It's a great watch. I'm a bit sad that you binge watch it and then it's just done. And if you're watching me right now on YouTube or the video, don't be alarmed while I'm moving around like this. I just look what my cat is doing right behind me. You might see it on the screen. Spooky. Don't jump from the balcony. Okay. So all cool. The one issue I have is that sometimes like the characters change their the path quite fast. One thing I found cool, character-wise, was when they're in the prison, and then Daniel negotiates with Kreese, and he's like, "Hey, if you help us, I'm gonna get you my lawyer, a really good lawyer. I'm gonna go outside, talk to him right now." Then he comes back and he's like, "Okay, I talked to my lawyer. He's gonna help you. I have the number here in a folded paper. I have it here. I give it to you, but first you help us." And then Kreese tells them what he knows, and then Daniel moves the paper over. Kreese opens it to see the number of the lawyer, and it says like, "No mercy, motherfucker." And it's like, oh, you can be mean then. Okay, cool. Yeah. Strike first, strike hard, no mercy. So kind of cool. Not Daniel-like, but you see, okay, he has this mean streak, and maybe that's what I don't want to spoil too much. Maybe that's what he needs, right? In the end. So that's nice. What's not nice, besides like them turning sometimes too fast in their tracks, is if you binge watch something, it's just over. Like I like, that's what I like at like Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon right now. Also, it's like you're really looking forward to next week. You're like, oh my god, I really want to see it. I'm gonna tune in. I'm gonna stream it. And just binge watching the whole show within like 1 day, 2 days, then you're like, huh. So I mean, yeah, I know we're in the video on demand era and whatnot, content on demand. Over the top content, whatever you want to call it. That's kind of cool to have like this anticipation for next week. And then you can make it available like on demand whenever. If you don't want to watch it at one specific time, make it drops every Tuesday at midnight, and then just watch it whenever, right? So I like that. So I think they could have done the two with Cobra Kai, because then you can just enhance the conversation that's happening about it. Because now it's like, hey, how many episodes did you watch? Only 4? I watched 6 already. I'm at the end already. I watched all of it. Like, if you just watch like every week one, you're like, oh my God, I can't wait. Let's talk about it, right? So I think there's some more potential there. I know it's old school, but I think lots of Netflix content could utilize that better, I think. Maybe it's also like would be a way that Netflix would get more positive attention, maybe. But it's just me thinking out loud right now. So while I'm saying that, I realize that of course that's not the model right now, because it's binge watching has been the model in for a while now of Netflix. But maybe it's time to change, because Netflix is dead. I'm seeing this from Andrew Schulz from 5 years ago when he was on Joe Rogan. Now I'm saying it. Netflix is dead. Netflix is going to die. At least if they're not changing. I think they're going to adapt somehow. They need to change, and it's going to happen sooner than later, because otherwise there's no future for streaming services like that. Even though there's like no more streaming services popping up. Walmart of all the companies wants another streaming service, because there's so much money to be made streaming. I'm seeing a big disruption coming soon, but maybe we have like an extra podcast on this, because it can't continue the way it does right now. But it's not a podcast today. Today was only Cobra Kai, and this was my reaction to Cobra Kai, The Way of the Fist. It's a great show. It's great to binge watch. I would love if it wasn't able to binge watch. If I wasn't able to binge watch, I would love if it would be like a weekly show over 10 weeks or so. I think that would increase the conversation about it, the buzz and everything. But I understand it's not the model right now, of course. I love all the intertextual references in there, the pop cultural references, the guest stars, the music, the cars, how the people grow, change, act based on their growth. I dislike the binge watching part, as I mentioned a few times now. I dislike that some of the characters change their opinions quite fast, and I still dislike the mom, because I've disliked her ever since. Who I grew to like more. Again, I'm not trying to spoil too much, so I'm not saying if I still like that person at the end or not, but I did grow to like Tori way more, also while she developed and so on. So good job there. But that's it for now. Media Prof reacts to Cobra Kai. Let me know what you think about The Way of the Fist. I was thinking if I want to talk about it more, but I don't want to spoil everything. So maybe I do like a breakdown or something in like a week or so from now, like what's next for Cobra Kai, what I think they should be doing next. So then I can talk about everything I want to talk about actually. Okay, so that's it for today. In a week or so, then the breakdown of like what I think they should have done and what I think they should do next, because I'm really excited to see where this is going and so on. Until then, as always, stay safe, take care, like, share, subscribe to the thing, rate it. 5 stars only, of course, not like Joni's delivery service. 5 stars only. If you rate it, then more people can find it. We can have a bigger dojo, talk about all those things. Until then, take care, stay safe. No mercy. Sawadee Cup.